you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to Some Broadway World over here on the Broadway Podcast Network. And I love singers. I really love singers so much. And our next guest can sing. Like, she sings like Broadway, and she sings like country, and she sings on TV, and she sings on stage. And I don't know if she knows this, but she has worked with Ricky Martin, which, as a little gay boy, that is quite the holy grail. That is something. So we're going to talk about, she has a brand new album, and it's gorgeous. I secretly heard the album, and it's gorgeous. And she's got like 186 Broadway superstars singing with, literally everyone on Broadway is on Rachel Potter's album, and she's here to tell us all about it. Rachel is here making her roundtable. That's a tongue twister. Roundtable debut. Rachel Potter, welcome.
Hey. Hi. Hello.
186 Broadway stars. Easy.
So many Broadway stars. Easily 186.
I am excited for you because A, you signed a record deal. B, you have a full album. C, you have an incredible team that's behind this album that you work with, and it's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk to you about it. I also love the team. Joy Machine Records is so cool, and their vision is so cool, and how they are supporting the new this wave of musical theater artists that want to make records like I did. Like, I just love them. They're so awesome.
But I love it because you are you're one of those Broadway / Nashville / I'm a rock star, but I'm also a Broadway diva. Like, you sing it all.
Well, thank you. I've always tried to be a chameleon of sorts, but isn't that like what we're supposed to be, I guess, for Broadway style stuff, so that we can become the different roles that we're supposed to play.
And when I think of you, Rachel Potter, I think of you like you're not from Nashville or you're not from New York City. You're from St. Petersburg, Florida.
That's
like
right.
The home of Wiki Waki, the little mermaids that swim in. I love. So your journey was Broadway the first dream? Was recording music the first? Like, what was the dream when you were little?
Funny enough, I always dreamed of being a recording artist. I used to design my album covers when I was like a little kid. And I was obsessed with country music, funny enough, growing up. And I look back on it now, and I think it was really because of the storytelling, and I just wasn't exposed to musical theater. But country music, especially in the 90s, like, come on, 90s country music was it. And, I used to sit in my room and like watch CMT all day, and I loved those music videos. And then I started writing songs when I was like 12-ish. But at that time, the only thing I had to be inspired by was religion, which that's a conversation for another day. But so I did like this Christian album. Please don't go listen to it. It's embarrassing. But I did that when I was in my teens. Please never listen to it. Please. If you ever see it, like, just for my sake, please pass right on by. But then I went, I moved over to Orlando, and I was going to college, and I was working at the mall, and someone was like, you should go audition for Disney World. And Little Miss Christian recording artist went over there and had no idea what I was doing. My resume read like, I work at the Gap, and my job duties are folding clothes and working the cash register. And don't worry, I put my typewriter speed on there because I Googled what a resume was supposed to look like. Like, I was a completely green little naive dummy. And somehow those casting directors didn't laugh me out of the room, and they gave me a call back for The Little Mermaid. And so I got my equity card, and I didn't even know what it was. Like, I was a little baby angel, like fresh out of high school, like just going to college, and I got my equity card and started working as Ariel in the Voyage of the Little Mermaid show at Hollywood Studios. And I absolutely fell in love with the theater community, with all things musical theater. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't I know about this world? Like, I did show choir in high school. Like, I didn't do theater. And so I was so grateful that I was now exposed to this world and these people. And So I really didn't know how to act. And I just started putting myself into acting classes. And I'll never forget, I went to a Disney audition, and I can't even remember the name of the casting director, but he was a Disney casting director who also worked for like Tara Rubin, I think, at the time.
Okay.
And he was like, Rachel, you can't act, but if you want to make it on Broadway, you can do it, but you got to go figure out how to act and then come back. And I was like, okay, I will. And so I went and put myself through acting classes in school, while I was also going to college and working full time. And then when I graduated, I moved on up to New York City, and the rest is not history. It was very hard for many years, but eventually the work paid off.
It was. You're one of those people that just booked that first gig. But see, what I love about it is like that you booked.
But
that
no,
first
I didn't.
Gig, but you booked Disney. But then when you like, the work didn't stop with one. People think like, if I just get one, the work is continuous. You're still working as an artist. You always will work as an artist. And now
yes.
You're back. You've merged all the worlds, because now you're Broadway diva / country diva / recording artist / Disney princess now puts together and comes together in one big, giant, beautiful project called Stages. So after you came here, so everyone streamed the album. The album is going to be available for everybody May 16th, and it will be available wherever music is heard. So you got to be ready to stream it. After you came to New York and you started to book, like when we found like Wicked tour photos of you, and I was joking about
Ricky Christine Dwyer.
Look at Christine Dwyer.
I know. She was my first and last Elphaba. And yes, there's Ricky Martin. And you want to know something crazy? He still DMs me on Instagram. And I always just want to be like, guys, it's Ricky Martin.
I would be.
I love him. He's an amazing person. And oh God, what a time to be alive. And Roger Rees, may he rest in peace. Yeah. What an amazing man. There's Brad Oscar as Fester. Come on.
Who's amazing. Who's the funniest, sweetest human being. So, and then, people know you from this stuff too. From
the X Factor.
So when you put together a recording album, how do you pick the material? Because you have your own Broadway music. You have music that you grew up listening to and love. You have pop music. So what was the impetus behind Stages? What is the album about?
So this was the theme behind it, if you will, was that I wanted to capture like the most important stages of my life, as well as all the stages that I've actually gotten to perform on. And so that double meaning there. And so I really just wanted to honor all those different really important moments with, Disneyland and Part of Your World, where I got my start. I couldn't, those people were, that show that I worked in, those people are my foundation in this industry. And I hope that they know how much that they still mean to me. I learned so much when I was there. And then obviously pulled from the Addams Family, my Broadway debut. I did For Good with Christine, who actually was my first and very last Elphaba when I played Glinda. And then, everything in between, there's Matilda medley, which incorporates my son, which is really special. The Waitress medley, I've always connected so strongly to that music. Number one, because Sarah Bareilles is literally my favorite artist and has been since 2007. But also because it captures, I think, what so many of us and what I truly felt becoming a mother and not recognizing myself, and then falling in love with my baby, and everything changes, and like accepting that I am different now. And that journey is obviously hugely pivotal for me. I have 3 children. So that has been a giant transition in my life and my identity. And this has also been about me reclaiming my identity, and finding my voice again after feeling like I was buried under the confines and the weight of motherhood and working full time, and, and how hard all of that is.
Sure.
But to make space and make time for the thing that makes me, and the thing that I love. And I pay tribute to my time in Nashville and with my band in an arrangement of House of the Rising Sun that I used to do with my country band here. And I lost my brother a few years ago, sadly. And so there's a song dedicated to him. So, it's just, it's definitely like every song has a very, very important meaning, and I won't bore you with every single one, but, it's all very, very personal.
It's your story. It's your stages. I love the double mean. I love it's very clever and it makes perfect sense. And while we're talking, though, Rachel Potter on Instagram, and you can go to rachelpottermusic.com if you want more information. And when the album's out and all the things we'll be sharing and tagging, but you got to follow along so you can be up to date on all the things that's to come. I love the album because you have some of the greatest musical theater songs of all time and some of the greatest composers. And when I look at the work that you're doing on this, like you start that, it's like a little Andrew Lippa, obviously Addams Family party, and then you take like Alan Menken and Howard Ashman and Marvin Hamlish, and that's a whole, like you have, Ingrid Michaelson and Tim Minchin, like you have the best of the best writers on here. So they all have a personal meaning. Did you have fun making them your own and playing around with how you were going to put them out on the album?
Yes, for sure. And I think one of the most fun mashups that I don't know, I can't really pick. All of them were so great, but the most fun that I think is the Come What May, I Love You song mashup.
Okay.
I am obsessed with the I Love You song from Spelling Bee. And I saw that composer actually just recently passed away, which is crazy. So incredible. Like, what a prolific writer. And I've always been so obsessed with that song. So I was, building the track listing, and I had that on the list, but I was like, out of context, it doesn't really work to do it in its entirety. But the thing that we all love about that song is the bridge, right?
Yes.
And then I'm working on trying to piece where all my incredibly talented friends are going to slot in this. And I was like, okay, well, I've got Marty and I've got Omar, and I can't really pick who should I do Come What May with. And I was like, the I Love You song could work in the bridge. It's so weird, but I think it could work. And then I can make this a trio and like make this a love triangle, or but the deeper meaning for that is just that we will always love each other and always be there for each other. We're all friends of 20 years. So that was super cool. And then I was when I put together Part of Your World that goes into Disneyland, both are sung by Jodie Benson, and obviously like both are Disney themed, and I was like, someone must have done this before. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, no one's ever done this before. Okay, cool. This feels like it's not a unique idea, but it turned out that it was. And the mashup of Les Mis was something I wrote years ago, and I've been sitting on. I did like a really kind of bad, poorly executed version of it, and I thought about putting it out, and then I brought it to my producer probably 5 years ago when we started talking about this project. And he was like, hold it, just wait. I think that we should, make that special. And ultimately that turned into the Les Mis mashup I did with Miss Natalie Weiss, who's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. On My Own and I Dreamed a Dream is what we're talking about, which is on the album. And you talk about Natalie Weiss, and you talk about Marty Thomas and Omar Cardona that are on the other, like all of the guests. So tell me about your guests. I mean, there's a lot of Broadway and TV and superstars out here singing. So who do you have on this album? All 138 of them.
138. Get ready. Hold your breath. I'm going to list them all. So Ali Stroker, who is a really good friend. I was actually on the road with her husband, David Perlow. He was my Fiero on the Wicked tour. So when he got together with Ali, she and I were just really fast friends. And we've really been there for each other through like motherhood and all of that and all of those challenges. And I treasure her friendship so much. And I have always been so in love with Some Things Are Meant to Be from Little Women, like such a good song. And so I wanted to sing it, and I called her up. She was the first person actually I called when I decided to do this, and just to see if she'd be interested. I was like, do you happen to like Some Things Are Meant to Be? She's like, oh my God, it's one of my favorite songs. And I was like, oh, perfect. Okay. Which part do you normally sing? And she's like, Beth. And I was like, great. This is perfect. Okay, wonderful. And so I was like, would you want to do it? And then Jason Howland wrote that. And I happened to know him from back in the day. And I wrote to him, I was like, we're going to do this. Is this okay? And he's like, yeah, great. Amazing. So, that was really neat. And then Life of the Party is like a full call to my very first early days in New York City when I would go sing at like the after party and the duplex and like all the open mic nights back in the day. Like that was my go-to song I would always pick. You know, so maybe this time is like so special to for that reason. But anyway, I digress. Let me get back to the collaborators. So then there is Voctive. Voctive may not be super well known to the musical theater world, but in the recording world, they are very well known and they are tremendous. And the lead and the arranger and the producer is my best friend since I was 9 months old. His name's Jamie Ray. And his group has just really taken off. Octave is incredible. If you haven't heard them, they're an a cappella group, sort of a la like, you know, a version of Voices of Liberty at Disney World, but more contemporary. And so they are guesting with me on the Matilda medley, which was something I dreamed up with a friend in Atlanta. And we put it together for like this little kids show. And I was like, oh, wait, this could be really cool if we like fully flush this out and do this with Octave. And then my son is on that, which is cool. So we got a little kid moment. Then we have obviously Christine Dwyer, Natalie Weiss, who I mentioned, who Natalie and I met in the early days of me being in New York City. And we were both like doing, you know, these concerts at Joe's Pubs for upcoming writers or whatnot. That's how we met. And so I've just known her and loved her for years. And she's obviously like, her voice is crazy. So picking someone who could really do that justice and us really be able to do something special, like she was a really easy choice. And I'm really glad she said yes. And then I did the Waitress medley, and I was like, I need to put together just like a Broadway ensemble. And it just so happens that I just have a lot of friends that are really good. So the Broadway ensemble is Marty Thomas again and Omar Cardona, Matt DeAngelis, Brandon Calm, and Christine Dwyer, who all were in Waitress at one point.
Power couple in there.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh. And then I've got and then Marissa Rosen.
Yep.
Who is a dear friend of mine since a long, long time ago, who just made her splashy Broadway debut in Water for Elephants.
Yes, she did.
And then a dear friend named Jennifer Thigpen, who sings in Broadway Inspirational Voices. So just like a powerhouse of vocalists on that as features. And then I mentioned that I had lost my brother, and there's a song on there called He Was Mine. So there's a duo here in Nashville that I'm good friends with called the Young Fables. They're a country duo. And the lead singer, Laurel, she had lost her sister in a car accident. And she wrote this song called She Was Mine. And when I lost my brother in 21, I remember hearing the song and crying my ever-loving eyes out. And then when I decided to do the album, I gave her a call and was like, would you be okay with me doing this song? And could I change the words to He Was Mine? And would you sing with me on it? And we're going to do it like, you know, because it was originally this very stripped down country song. And so instead what we did was fully flesh it out like as if it was in a Broadway play, you know, and like how would this sound if it was in a Broadway musical? And I'm just like in a spotlight, you know, singing this song. So that one is probably the most meaningful and the most special on the album for me. He actually played Peter Pan at Disney World a long time ago, and that's what a lot of people knew him for. And so there's a few little like references to Peter Pan in there. And so that one's that one and House of the Rising Sun are the two songs that are not Broadway. Let's see. Did I miss any collaborations?
I was going through the list with you, and I
know.
Go ahead.
Animazement Trio.
Yes, Jamie and EJ, go ahead.
Yes, so Animazement Trio, everybody pretty much knows of this song at this point. This arrangement is so, it's like a cult favorite from this show called Animazement that was at Disneyland in the 90s. And Eden Espinosa was in that show as Pocahontas.
Singing.
Which, by the way,
singing.
Honey. Eden and I actually met for the first time, if you can believe it, last summer. And I told her I was doing this, and she gave me her blessing. So that's the good news. I still need to reach out to her. I was going to get her to like do a little video of her saying like, I'm Eden Espinosa and I approve this message. That's
so funny. And she will do it.
I still need to get her to do that. But anyway, so we had just randomly, in like 12 years ago, Jamie somehow got his hands on like a karaoke track of this song. And we just like recorded it in his house and like went and recorded like a really bad video for it. It's all shaky and like bad. And so, but it ended up being one of my best performing videos on YouTube and people loved it. And I mean, I was in a gay bar like about a year ago and some boy that was like 22 years old comes up to me like, oh my God, your Animazement Trio changed my life. And I'm like, you know about the Animazement Trio? Like what? So still people will talk to me about the Animazement Trio. So it was I really was excited to redo it and do it right. And like we had like a completely new orchestration written, full orchestra played on it. Like it's entirely ours. And I mean, yeah, people love the Animazement Trio. And what's not to love? It's such a good arrangement.
The whole album is such a good arrangement. It's just really, really beautiful. And it is so good. And you heard everybody. Like these songs are songs you know, songs you'll discover. It is a fun album to listen to from beginning. You don't need to just listen to a single or just one track. Like it's a journey and it will give you all the joys and feels from the beginning to end. And it's so beautifully placed. The songs are each placed. So listen to the whole thing from top to bottom and you'll find something you're going to love for sure. I read that you was like a dream, and you said that earlier about signing a record deal. And when you signed it, what's it mean to have a full 8-length album coming out this year with a label, with some of your friends, with songs that mean so much to you? And now this baby that you've been working on all these years is going to be out in the world for everyone to enjoy.
I feel like I'm not ready, but just like when you're about to give birth to an actual physical baby, you don't feel ready then either. But at some point, it's just got to come out.
It's coming out.
Coming out. So it feels surreal, I guess, in a way, because it's so meaningful. And I feel really grateful that that Joy Machine signed me to this record label. Like, it's so ironic that I have been in Nashville pursuing a record deal since 2013. And ultimately, I think what I came to realize is like, okay, I think I've actually been kind of putting on a front to be a country singer, like that it's not truly who I ever was. Like it was something that I could do, but like deep in my soul, I am a Broadway artist. Like that is my home. That is my heart. I love telling stories. I love standing up for what's right. I love being loud about my opinions. And so being in the Nashville recording arts country music scene just never felt like home, because I never felt like I could truly be who I am. And not to mention, like, this technique and this style, I have been working on this my whole life. Like, this has been what I've dedicated myself to. So isn't it silly that I had never had a Broadway album, that I only had these like country albums out? So I wanted to honor that journey of mastering, or at least trying to master that craft all these years, and also honor the craft that I love so very dearly, and that I'm hoping that this album will, inspire other artists to, just feel like they can take up space in this world, and that just because you're a theater artist doesn't mean you can't also record an album, and you are worthy of that. And you are like, and I can't tell you how many times I've had to talk myself off the ledge of like, who do you think you are that you are special enough to do an album? Who's going to want to listen to this? Why do you think that you should do this? You're not good enough to do this. Like, these are the thoughts. I mean,
of course.
And it's so hard to overcome that and to believe in yourself, especially for a project of this weight. But I just decided, you know what? YOLO.
Yeah. Like, F it. As you go, do it. And you
did it. I did it. So yeah, I'm so nervous about how it's going to be received, and I can't wait to hear what people think of it. But I just feel a lot of joy that it's worked out this way, and I'm the irony of finally getting signed to a record deal when, after all these years, I finally just decided to be true to my authentic self, and that's the thing that finally got the attention of a label. You know, like, wow, if I had just could have told myself that 10 years ago.
That's the lesson for all of us, and there's a lesson for everybody when you listen to this. Just be you, sing your songs, and put out your art. And I'm sure, Rachel, you're going to hear from so many people who are going to love it. It's going to blow your mind because it's gorgeous, and people need to stream it. May 16th. May 16th, Stages is coming everywhere you listen to music. No matter where you listen to music, you better get it, download it, share it, tell a friend, and you're going to love it. For the Broadway babies, for the singers out here, for the country babe, anyone who's loving music, this is for you. And we could follow you and stay up to date with you on Instagram and check out your website for all the things that are to come. I hope you come back when you're on the road. When you have live shows, when you're going to do the whole album somewhere. We need the full story. So come on down, please.
We're probably going to do the album release. Right now, the working date is August 11th in New York City.
Well, we want to talk about it. So when you're ready to talk about it, please come back and be our friend.
Okay, I will anytime. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, break legs on this new baby. It's coming out.
Woo! Thank you.
Baby number 4.
Oh God! This one might have been the most expensive one yet.
It probably is. Thank you so much. Congrats.
Thank you.